Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 8744, and today, guys, I'm going to do a video about Thomas Muller and Kevin De Bruyne. So both of them have announced their decisions to leave at the end of the season, and today we're going to be discussing about how do I feel about both of these players and where does history rank them and all that. So we're going to be doing this together, guys. And the reason why I'm doing together, guys, is because both of them have announced their kind of departures kind of around the same time. So I felt like, you know what, it's just better if we just combine both of them together. So let's start with KDB first. So let me get my image up here. So KDB. So here's the thing with KDB, guys. KDB for me is one of Manchester City's best players of all time. When you think of Manchester City over the last couple of years, which player has consistently balled up for Manchester City? KDB. He's been there. He's scored crucial goals. He's scored game-winning goals. He's been that guy. He's been consistent. And what you have to appreciate with KDB is that his consistency is unmatched. Like there's very few Manchester City players that have been as consistent as he. I think the only players that you can maybe make argument for are Aguero and maybe Vincent Company. Everyone else, though, I don't think has been consistent on a regular day-to-day basis for Manchester City. And the thing is, obviously, KDB hasn't been as good for Manchester City in the last couple of years. Obviously, Manchester City have he's been injured a lot and he hasn't played as much. So obviously, you can tell he is declining. And right now, he's 33 years old, of course. And so obviously, longevity-wise, he doesn't have the best longevity. But when he's fit, he's very good. He's a very good player. He's a very, very good player, and he's always delivered in top six games. He's always delivered in top six games. And name it, the crucial Champions League games like PSG, he's delivered in. He's delivered against Real Madrid. He's delivered in those Champions League knockout games in particular, which I think most Manchester City players just really haven't, if we're being honest with you guys. Most Manchester City players are not that amazing in knockout stage Champions League matches. So KDB is just definitely up there. Now the question remains, where does he rank among all-time Premier League players? Now let's look at the midfield in particular because I think the forwards and defenders and goalkeepers is very difficult to compare since they play in different positions. So let's look at his counterparts. The players they could probably put for the other teams are Liverpool. You got Steven Gerrard. For Chelsea, you got Frank Lampard, and for Man United, you got Paul Scholes. Now the problem is Paul Scholes doesn't play the same position as KDB. Paul Scholes is more of a center mid that can attack and defend. KDB obviously is a camp, so we can't really compare with him that. And Steven Gerrard is very similar to Scholes. He's not a cam per se. So the like for like player you can compare is Frank Lampard. And for me, when I look at these two players, I do believe KDB is better than Lampard. I do believe KDB has been far more consistent than Lampard. Although Lampard is really good, guys. I think Lampard is very good. It's really difficult because I think both of them are around the same. Both of them are kind of around there, but I do feel like KDB has been more instrumental, more clutch per se, and I think he's been more consistent than Lampard. But Lampard is still very good though. So, it's interesting. Now the question remains, guys, is he Manchester City's best player of all time? I still say no. I still think Aguero is still higher. I still think Company is higher just because they were there for the rebuild from the very beginning, whereas obviously he came in like midway through the rebuild. He came in 2016, and where those guys were there before 2012. And obviously 2012 was a breakthrough moment when Manchester City finally won the Premier League for the first time ever. And you could even maybe make an argument David Silva's better. Now, I do believe he's better than David Silva, but you can make an argument that David Silva has done far more for City than KDB, because he's been there for a longer period of time. So yeah, KDB, as I said, man, a great player, instrumental player, and I do think he is an amazing player. Now the question is he a football great? Because this is where it gets tricky, guys. Because when you look at players, because there's a lot of players that are good for the league, but are they good all time? I don't think KDB's up there. I do feel like players like Xavi, Iniesta is definitely superior. I would even say Modric is probably superior. I would say Toni Kroos is probably superior. I would say Pirlo is probably Pirlo's not really this generation. He's the last generation, but still, I don't think KDB's up there. And the reason is because I think those players are far more technical gifted, and I think these players have done it in a consistent basis for both club and country. And I think it's the thing that's going to hurt KDB the most in his legacy is the country aspect. He doesn't have a great solid tournament for Belgium. Just never really showed up for Belgium from the start to the finish. Um, and that's a big problem because I think if he had done so, I think people would have pushed him in that conversation. It's just that he doesn't really have like a standout moment, like a standout tournament for Belgium. Like when people think about his moments for Belgium, they think of the goal against Brazil, but there's no like standout individual tournament. Like, yeah, that's that guy. Because for me, I'll be honest with you, most Belgian players don't really have that. But if there's one Belgian player I thought that was really good at World Cup was Eden Hazard, 2018 World Cup. I don't think KDB's had anything like 2018 World Cup for Eden Hazard. So for me, as I said, guys, he's definitely a Premier League great. He's definitely a Manchester City great. He's a Manchester City legend. He's definitely a Premier League great. Premier League legend, I'm not sure about that. I think that's a bit difficult to say. I don't think he's a Premier League legend, in my personal opinion. I do feel like there's players that are better, like Henry's probably Henry's definitely a Premier League legend. I would even say um, Rooney's a Premier League legend. I don't think he's in a legend stratosphere yet. Um, he's definitely a Belgium great. And yeah, so like I said, man, um, enjoy what's next in your career. I hope he goes to a Belgian team. I think that'll be nice for him to go back there. But yeah, as I said, man, that's just my thoughts. Now let's talk about Thomas Muller, guys. Let's talk about Thomas Muller now. So when we look at Thomas Muller, guys, I think people will because for me, guys, I do believe Thomas Muller for me is one of the most underrated players in this century we've had. Underrated players. Because the thing with Thomas Muller, what he provides is both goals and assists, and he's tenacious. He's a hard worker, work race player, and I think he's a very good player in that sense. And remember, he's been at Bayern for so long, you know. And I was really hoping that he would stay as a one man team. Now, obviously, we don't know if he's going to retire in this. We don't know if he's going to retire. Or he's just going to go to another team. I hope he retires because I think he's a essential player, and he's definitely a Bayern legend without doubt. He's one of their best players. He is a German legend as well. I mean, he helped them win a World Cup, and he's got two trebles as well. And I believe Thomas Muller also invented the position of Roydminster. I might be butchering that, but he also is instrumental in that sense. He can play as a cam, can play as a striker, can play as a right winger, and you name it, man. I think Thomas Muller for me is just an incredible player. Like I think we're not going to see many players like him. And what makes him so special is that he doesn't have the technical skills that most elite players have in this generation. He doesn't have the technical skills like Iniesta, Xavi, Modric, and etc. But what he makes up for is his goal scoring, his leadership, his personality. And I think it's another thing people don't talk about. His personality is really fun. He's a really fun player to talk with. He's a crap houser. He likes to talk crap, and he backs it up though. And that's the thing. And we all know he loves to score against Barca. He loves to score against Barca. He just always shows up against Barca. And my thing with Thomas Muller is that I think he's a player that we're not going to really appreciate for many years. I think when people look in many years, he's not going to be one that people are going to remember so fondly. Like, non Bayern and non German fans, I don't think are going to watch Muller compilations. I just don't think they will because he doesn't have the technical skills compared to those players. And the issue with Thomas Muller is that he doesn't have any like true iconic moments of him individually or decisive clutch moments. I think the clutch moment would have been obviously if he had scored that Champions League final winning goal in 2012, but we all know Drogba had other plans and said otherwise. So he's definitely up there. And when you talk about German midfielders, I think he's definitely in the conversation of being top 10. I think the only players that can maybe say are better are obviously Lothar Matthäus. He's definitely better. Now Cruz is a bit debatable. Is he a better midfielder than Tony Cruz? Now that's a bit debatable because I do feel like that's you could go either way for there. And the Schweinsteiger, I do think Schweinsteiger is clear of him. And so, like I said, I think Thomas Muller is a great player. He's an instrumental player, a Bayern legend for sure, a Bundesliga legend for sure, a German legend for sure. Is he a football great? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I just don't feel like he has the technical skills compared to those other guys I mentioned, and I don't think he is going to be well remembered in that sense. But he's definitely on like the tier below it. I'll probably say him and KDB are probably the tier below legends, but not quite legends. I'll say, and legends are very high tier players, and I don't think he's there yet. So like I said, guys, very interested to see what happens with these two players. I think both these players are amazing in their own ways, and I think we have to respect both of them because the consistency and the amount of loyalty both these players have had to their teams has been unmatched. And it's crazy that next season we're not going to see both Thomas Muller and KDB at Bayern and Manchester City respectively. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, guys. We're definitely going to talk about this on the weekend recap stream. We're definitely going to discuss this a bit, and we're going to have some maybe hopefully get some people to come on and give their say on both these players. So, anyways, hope you guys did enjoy. Remember, guys to like and subscribe, and peace out.